This week, the 118 are acting more like coworkers than family.
Bobby is digging his own grave.
And Buck has a "this is me being reasonable" moment.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddie System, a 911 deep dive podcast hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
No stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind.
This episode brought to you by Buck's Clipboard. Check. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week?
This week, we're discussing Season 3, Episode 4, Triggers, written by David Fury, Christopher Monfett, and Tanya Kong, directed by Joaquin Cedillo. It originally aired October 14, 2019.
We have a few calls of the week, back to normal after the tsunami. The first one is Bowling for Suits, where during a fire drill at a high-rise, the alarms trigger a man's epilepsy, causing him to have a seizure in the stairwell and creating a domino effect all the way down. The next one is Off the Road Again, where brothers Camden and Jesse are fighting in the back seat when their mom narrowly avoids crashing their car, only for the ground to literally fall out from under them. And the last one is One Ring to Rule Them All. A sister's rivalry flares up over an heirloom ring while splitting up their recently passed mom's belongings, and it ends up getting stuck on the finger of one of the sisters. All right. It feels like it's been forever since
It has been
in
actually
season
84 years.
We've been in season 8 land for so long.
And, we're ready to take a break.
We need a break. It's been a long week.
It's currently April 24th, 2025.
It's been a long month
since Bobby died.
Do we want an A and B take?
That's why I put quotes, died. Allegedly.
Died.
He allegedly died.
Which is I think, really
Been a month.
It's been a long month.
It's been a month since the leaks. Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
it took me a minute. I was like, what? Wait, what?
What do you mean?
But anyway, I mean,
where
it
were
feels
you March
like
30th, 2025?
no, for real. Well, it's going down in the fandom history books for 911. Where was I? Crashing out. Where were you? Crashing out. Where were also you? Crashing
Out? It's just like, what flavor of crashing out were you doing, you know?
Yeah.
So this has been nice. I was a little nervous because I was like, these are angry at Bobby episodes for me. Like one of the only ones. I'm not angry at him very often because he's done almost nothing wrong in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Correct.
like, I don't know if I can be mad at him right now. But no, I can. I'm fully capable.
Sil and I thought so. We were like, it'll come back around. It's fine.
Fully capable. But yeah, I guess general thoughts of this specific episode. I love it. I think it's really, really well written. I think all of the production, like the direction and the cinematography, is really good. It's a really great ensemble episode.
Yeah.
I love when we touch, like, everyone gets at least a little meat, and this is one of those. And I love the Buck and Bobby show. So I love whenever it's Buck and Bobby storylines, even when they're awkward as fuck.
Kind of makes it better sometimes.
Sometimes. And also, like, the beginning of the episode's just a lot of fun because that's just a dad and his silly, goofy son.
Yeah.
It's cute. There's a lot of really, like, heavy emotional stuff in this episode, but they also have a good amount of just, like, good humor and jokes to balance it out. So it's not, like, depressing, which I feel like it could have veered into very easily with, like, especially, like, Eddie and Maddie's storylines. Yeah.
Well, for me, I mean, I kind of like what Han said. I do like the ensemble bit of it all. You know, I love that we got to. I think it's a good like setup episode for the rest of the season. It's setting up everyone's like different storylines or the paths that they're going. And I don't know. I just really enjoy Clipboard Buck. And because of current events, I'm just like, I can also be a little mad at Bobby. I'm not someone that's usually like mad at characters for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because of current events, I'm going to channel my second stage of grief, anger. For those of you who don't know.
Spoiler
I know. Do we need
alert
a
or whatever.
spoiler alert?
I don't think so. It's going to be like a month.
We're a spoiler-full podcast. Also, the finale will have already happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
By the time
Okay.
this comes out.
Remember,
so-
everyone and their grandma knows about Bobby.
Yeah.
True.
Poor
True.
Mima.
Oh, Mima. Bring back Peepaw. Oh. So yeah, just kind of to echo what both of you said, I think this is a great other piece of bread to the tsunami sandwich. Like for episode 1, and then like 301, and then
You should not just call it a tsunami sandwich.
That's what I was thinking. That's because you have 301. What's the problem?
What the fuck is a tsunami sandwich?
Did you just come up with that? Or did you think it earlier and you were like,
No, like literally
Yeah, and
2
you wrote it
minutes
down.
ago, like while you guys were talking. Like, no, episode 3 and episode 4 are like the pieces of bread, and the tsunami is in the middle of the sandwich. Like, because it's sandwiching both. Like,
you
the
mean 1
tsunami
and 4?
episode 301 and 304 are very similar thematically. Like, like what we said, 304 continues a lot of the, laying the groundwork for a lot of the rest of the season, like 1 did. So I think like they work very, very well as the bread part of the tsunami sandwich. Like bookends. Is bookends better for you?
I hear you struggling.
I knew what you meant.
I'm not
I just
struggling.
was like, all right, tsunami sandwich. Let's go.
So I really love how this episode does pick back up on what 301 started to put into action, and it has like a break in the tension of after all of that tsunami stuff as well. And I think it did it like very, very effectively, successfully. I think this is one of like the classic really good ensembles, kind of like Dosed is. Like it's up there for me, right? And everybody gets a moment. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic episode. It's funny when it needs to be. It has like some more serious moments, and it sets things up really, really well. And I enjoy just like watching this episode so much. Just like the visual aspect of it too. Yeah, it's great. Good job.
It gave us the beginnings of our buddy divorce. No.
Yeah.
Well,
Laying the
it is the
groundwork.
beginning. It was,
Mhm.
yeah.
The OG divorce.
That lasted like 3 days. 3 episodes.
It's not even 3 episodes.
What is it, like 306?
I don't count this one.
No, it's like
Is 6 Halloween the Halloween episode?
monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an episode.
It's literally just 5.
An episode.
And then like
How long did it take you to warm
half
up
of
to Eddie?
6.
Have a shift.
Half a shift?
Was it half a shift or a full shift?
he said almost a whole
Whole
said almost a full shift. Almost a whole shift. Robbie should have just walked away. I would have walked
And he
away.
would have been so right for
He
that.
would have.
Just like,
Anyway.
I can't with you guys right now. Yeah. No, we love Buddy Divorce arc.
We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
We know we just got out of the water, but we're gonna dive back into it. Rachel, take us away.
Perfect. So I didn't find that many articles. I mean, there were some articles, but not really any interviews I found. A couple of them were just more, recappy about, is Buck making a huge mistake? Buck is set on a troubling new path. Whose side are you on? And it just kind of like reiterates what happened in the episode. So I guess I was just kind of wondering for anyone who was watching as this aired originally, any of the OGers, I guess we should ask Meg as well, was like the marketing, was it a lot of emphasis on like, are you on Team Buck or Team like 118 or Team Bobby or anything like, or Team Eddie? Because I think I remember seeing like a tweet or an Instagram thing of like,
was this one that came up with the ship name?
I think
when
so.
Ryan Guzman came up with the ship name?
I think so.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, because it was like, because I don't remember what it was, and obviously it was.
So I don't think you can see it anymore.
Yeah, but I've seen
Losers.
screenshots, so we'll have to find that probably for the next episode. But it was the caption from like the official Fox Instagram, I believe, was like, "Are you on Team Buck or Team Eddie?" And then they were like, "How about Team Buddy?"
Mm-hmm.
Not Betty, Buddy.
My question is, how much emphasis was on like, whose side are you on?
Right.
Like,
What an interesting era that we got to miss.
I know. Disappointed. Anyways, that's kind of it for the articles. Hopefully next time we'll have interviews.
We have a couple needle drops in this episode.
Oh yeah, they were good ones too.
I think I have to take out the second one because like when I rewatched it, I couldn't figure out where the fuck this song was supposed to be playing.
Like you couldn't find where that song was in the episode?
No, because it always says like where it is.
Yeah.
Like on the site
Like
that I
the
use.
scene.
And it was like she's crouched down in her car. And I watched both of those scenes 3 times. And like one of them did say like blah, blah, music plays, but it was not a song. It was just like instrumental,
I wonder
background track.
I wonder if there's something to that, like on streaming, kind of like
If there's like rights taken away or something.
Yeah, kind of like how Supernatural on Netflix season 1 didn't have the right music.
Oh, that would piss me off.
That one does piss me off. I can't watch Supernatural on Netflix from season 1.
So just 2 needle drops. One of them's kind of just silly goofy. It's Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett. And the scene with the sisters who were like fucking terrible. Like they're both terrible.
They were fighting like cats and dogs.
One of them's making margaritas. And it's just funny just because there's so much tension. And then you have this just like like this like very chill vibe happening in the background, like juxtaposing. But the lyrics specifically that make me laugh are like, some people say that there's a woman to blame, and I know it's my own damn fault. Like, yeah, it's both of their faults for being.
It's both of their own fault.
Just like terrible.
Yeah.
Like your mom's dead and all you guys care about is this stupid fucking ring.
Yeah, like how materialistic.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? And then we have playing while Maddie is getting her stalker on.
Oh my
Jim.
God. This one was funny. Like scary funny.
Yeah. I Hate Myself for Loving You by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, which great song, great band. It's not wholly lyrically applicable to like what's going on with her, but I think if you take parts of it, it is. So the part that kind of like stuck out to me is like the lead up to the chorus and then the chorus itself. So I think of you every night and day. You took my heart and you took my pride away.
Mm-hmm.
That's very the Doug of it all. I hate myself for loving you. Can't break free from the things that you do. I want to walk, but I run back to you. That's why I hate myself for loving you.
Yeah.
So I think this is just like a great and kind of just weird, but also great choice for the like triggered state that she's in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like obviously it's a song about like a romantic interest, but that emphasis on like I hate myself for loving you. I try to break free. All of that kind of stuff. That like tension of knowing a situation isn't good for you,
right?
But you kind of can't help yourself, which also maybe kind of pertains to some of what Maddie is doing, like knowing she's not doing the right kind of stuff, but she can't help it.
Yeah.
She keeps going back because she wants to help.
Because I think it's very much a like, not to say that she doesn't want to help this woman, but it's like, well, I couldn't help myself, but maybe I can help her. So it's like trying to help herself by helping this woman.
Oh, it's absolutely projecting. It's
There's a lot of that going around in this episode.
Yeah. She's trying to pay it forward, but in like a really not great way.
I think that leads us into our little red string corner.
I've connected the dots.
You didn't connect shit.
Yeah. So there was an interesting little tidbit that I found out very, very right before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
And the sisters in that emergency with the ring and everything, they're real life sisters. They are they're actual sisters.
Interesting.
It's Jolie Fisher and Trisha Lee Fisher, and you know they're actresses. They are sisters in real life, and actually they have a half sister, and you may know her by the name of Carrie Fisher.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they all share the same dad. So I thought that was really funny, and because I didn't know that.
I not know that Carrie Fisher had sisters?
Half sisters. I mean,
I thought she was an only kid for some reason.
Well, I think between her mom and her dad. So that's
Real
kind of
good.
funny, and I guess it lends a little bit of
Realism.
extra
Would you say?
realism. Yes, and was probably lots of fun for them to.
Realism.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I can never say that word again.
Oh no, we're saying
No.
it as much as possible to point
No,
out where
without-
the realism is.
No, like that's triggering for me now.
Oh, are you triggered in the triggers episode?
Yeah, I'm triggered in the triggers episode. Also, speaking of which, another little red string corner. You know what else I was triggered by? Also with this,
Mm-hmm.
the sister emergency.
Mm-hmm.
One of the names was Moira.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
No, thank you. Not right now. Not
No
today,
Moiras.
Satan.
No Moiras ever again. No, thank you. Goodbye. Okay, so I guess there were a couple parallels. We might talk about them a little later as well. But I thought there was a parallel. The call with the two brothers in the car off the cliff. It kind of struck me as a little similar to the call with the brothers in the well, or the pipe. Ooh, whatever. It wasn't a well. It was like a pipe.
It was
Yeah.
the
In
pipe for the pool,
806,
I think.
Yeah, the pipe for the pool. Because that also had to do with Chimney, and that also had to do with stuff about siblings, because in that emergency you also had a brother going into like looking out for his younger brother. And in 806 this is happening after, Maddie is asking Chimney to like think about, expanding their family. So just kind of like in general, it's kind of what Hen and Karen are going through in this episode kind of is thematically similar to Chimney, what's going on with Chimney in 806. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I felt like they were very similar or vehicles to get them to I was gonna say avenues. Well, similar vehicles to get both Hen and Chimney respectfully. Whatever. It was to get both respectively.
Yeah.
It was to get both Hen and Chimney respectively to, realize that they can like accept like these changes to their family.
Yeah.
And have their family grow, and it's probably for the better, because it like it's all like, I don't know, it's just going to benefit their family more, just to be able to grow that family.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about how Lena is a mirror for Eddie. I know you guys think she's more of a mirror or a parallel to Buck.
I think Tommy and Eddie mirror each other way more than Lena and Eddie. Lena, like I said, all I can think of for Lena and Eddie mirroring each other is that they like baseball and they like to punch people.
I mean, I guess for me, it's a lot more of like the like emotional like reservedness and trying to put on like a tough guy persona. But I just want.
I don't think that's just who she is.
Well, yeah, but like
I don't think she's putting on a persona.
No, I don't think she's performing. I think that is who she is, but I think that's also who Eddie is like kind of trying the persona that or performance that he puts on is like trying to be what she actually is. But for this, I just wanted to say like, so like, I see Lena as an Eddie mirror, kind of like how I see Lucy in season 5 as a Buck mirror, and it's interesting to me that like both of these mirrors show up when either Buck or Eddie is gone, and I just like to think about what the presence of like Lucy or Lena bring up in Buck and Eddie. Like how do they make like Eddie and Buck like think about themselves? You know, just something to think about. Like I don't have this is like a rhetorical thing. Like I don't have answers. Just
neither one of them does much self-reflection. Probably nothing.
Or I mean, like maybe for us to look at, like Lena is holding up a mirror to Eddie, basically, I think, and Lucy does the same thing to Buck. So I like to look at Lucy and Lena like in similar ways like that. That's all.
Yeah, I always saw Lena as the female version of what they were trying to make Buck at the beginning of the first season.
I don't see that at all. Did you say Lena or did you say Lucy?
Lena.
Oh, see, I
Lucy's
think
a clear Buck mirror.
Yeah.
That's obvious. But I think Lena, the reason people write so much fan fiction where Lucy and Lena get together is because they're very similar.
But I see Lena as more similar to Eddie.
Okay.
Than Buck. That's just difference. And then I don't really have much for foreshadowing except maybe like the car almost driving off the road is kind of similar to, let's say a train going off of its tracks later in season 3. Like things where things should not be.
Things are just getting derailed, you mean?
Yeah. Derailed or like where something is not supposed to be, which is also kind of like a tsunami, which is like water where it's not supposed to be.
Or like a major character death where there's not supposed to be one.
That too, yeah.
I only have down for foreshadowing. I can't even remember who fucking says it. Is it Hen?
What's
it's either Hen or Chimney at the very beginning of the episode when they're talking about how they hate fire drills. One of them says, "Can't fight
Hen.
City Hall."
Hen was like, I hate fire drills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she said, "Can't fight City Hall," and I was like, "LOL."
Just wait.
Couple years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about her. I was thinking about Buck literally suing the city.
Oh, that's
at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, she does also fight City Hall.
Yeah, that's what I connected it
to. No,
but no, that's an obvious. That is an absolutely like you can't fight City Hall. Oh, but what if you sue him? All right, so let's flash into some themes. That was a terrible transition. Let's talk about themes. Well, this episode is called Triggers, and guess what? That is a major theme of the episode. Thank you very much. Good night.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm kidding. That's
anyway. Who's cooking? No, I'll just go down the list because everyone might not be the definition of triggered necessarily, but this is what we're going to say their trigger is in this episode. Hen is her family changing because she was like all happy with Karen at the beginning, and then as soon as it was like, oh wait, the kids might fight and not like each other, and my family dynamic is going to change. She did not like that thought. Maddie is Doug.
Mm-hmm.
Tim's losing his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby is
everything.
Eyes are glistening with the ghosts of his past.
specifically when he wanted to get back out there after the fire in Minnesota, and everything in Bobby begins again, basically.
It's still, we're still here. We're still doing it.
Yep.
Eddie's is the loss of Shannon. We're still here. We're still doing it. Feeling helpless. And Buck says, again, we're still here, still doing it. Is feeling replaced or ignored. And like his family doesn't have his back.
Yeah, like this is just, if you wanted to show someone an episode of 911 to like really get them to understand the characters, show them this episode, because all of the or one of them, I think.
I just feel like this is a horrible for like if you're going to be like, let me introduce you to my comfort character, and they're like, Buck, that one, the one who's suing everyone, that guy, and I'm like, but you don't have any of the context of why. I know what you're saying though.
Okay, good. I'm just like, not only this, but like put this in that grouping of like, okay, here's like a key into these characters like very quickly. So with triggers, you have some of these triggering PTSD responses in some of these people as well, specifically in Christopher, Maddie, with how they're kind of dealing with trauma, because everybody deals with trauma differently.
Buck says CPTSD.
And that too.
Yeah.
What's the C again?
Complex.
Well, it's complex, all right.
Complex post-traumatic stress disorder, a condition where you experience some symptoms of PTSD along with some additional ones like difficulty controlling your emotions.
Oh.
Feeling very angry or distrustful.
Yeah. And then another kind of fairly obvious one, we see a lot of sibling relationship, but that theme of family and family relationships is still here, but in a slightly different way. So siblings are haunting Hen everywhere. Everywhere she goes, she sees siblings. And then also a little bit like parentified children, because we do see, I mean, again, there's parent and child relationships as well. Buck and Bobby, Eddie and Christopher, and Maddie.
Ambulance chasers. That's a theme. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to get into that.
And then we have our continuation of this theme of fighting. So previously we kind of saw it as like fighting for survival, like just keep swimming resiliency sort of thing. We're also seeing it kind of introducing like fighting with people, like not just like a fighting for survival kind of way, but like a people conflict. There's aspects of like change and adapting and adjustments in life or family, especially. And then I also put like communication and vulnerability with that as well, like admitting something to someone which like makes you vulnerable, but like to get someone else to confide in you, because we see it with like Eddie to Chris, Chim to Maddie, Bobby to Buck, maybe even like Buck to Lawyer, or Lawyer to Buck. And then feeling alone in the world, that loneliness, also kind of what happens with only children, and maybe heading down some dangerous paths, like Maddie with Tara, Buck with the lawsuit, and Eddie with fighting. ... That's it.
Always keep fighting.
I really tried to not say that because it's triggering.
God.
Who's cooking?
Okay, let's talk about Hen Karen trying to cook up a baby. Kick off our Who's Cooking section.
Cooking?
I have such a love-hate relationship with this storyline because I think it is so sweet and so real, but it's just like the start of the narrative, just like dangling, expanding their family and yanking it away from them for the next fucking 5 years. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's a little frustrating, but it really just comes down to Hen kind of having a breakdown a little bit about like, wait, I'm having second thoughts because I didn't think about how this would change things, which I don't.
You have to think about that.
I don't know how she didn't consider it until then.
Yeah.
But, you know, she is an only child, so I guess it's like hard for her to like imagine what that is like.
It's so like not her life experience.
Right.
So I guess that does like make it kind of a blind spot for her, because she's never had to deal with that like from a personal standpoint. Whereas like anyone else who like Karen, who grew up with siblings, I don't remember if she said just brothers or a brother. And
she said brothers.
Yeah. So like she understands what it means to have a family like kind of in flux and change in that way. I don't know where she is in the birth order, but you know, you would still kind of know or have an idea, unless you're the youngest, then it's just like the way it is.
I was like, she's definitely the oldest or the youngest. She's not giving middle child.
No, she's giving overachieving older sister.
She is, yeah.
So like in that sense,
which I was going to say, but I was like, I don't know if that's like as the oldest. with younger brothers, I was like, is that projecting? I don't know.
Is it projecting if I concur as also the older sibling?
Or is that expertise? Who knows?
It's our headcanon now.
So yeah, I was thinking about this too in this episode. I know this is one of the big things 911 does all the time, which is like character is going through something. All of a sudden, all the calls relate to that thing that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think this happens to Hen the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that she
You're
like
right.
pays attention to it the most. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like it happens to everyone, but I feel like her and Chimney really
For
pay
sure.
attention to it. But like Hen is just like, I don't know. She just like, she's up, she's down. We're so back. Oh no, it's so over. Like,
Then she watches like the events while she's like, all right, gotta apply this to my real life.
right.
Yeah.
She's like, what is the universe trying to teach me?
Mhm.
Well, Chimney is absolutely like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He believes in signs. I don't know how much Hen believes in signs. We'll have to revisit
She
that.
believes in learning from the calls. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because it happens to her the most and she listens to it the most.
Which is so funny too, because we've talked about how she is like the most competent compartmentalizer of like being able to leave home at home, but then she's confronted with stuff externally and that makes her like think about stuff with a new perspective. So I think that's like a really interesting, like almost, it's not really tension, but like an interesting dynamic there with that.
Yeah. This whole crisis starts because like Denny and Harry are fighting over. Is it a video game?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's a video game. That's just regular kid stuff, especially like, it's not even sibling things. That's just like friends do that too. But so she's like, oh no, oh my God, is he going to like having a sibling? Oh no. And I think she is projecting. I think she's projecting and being like, I don't think I would have liked having a sibling. Because like, I don't have a lot of childhood memories, but like I was almost 5 when my first brother was born. And I remember I fucking hated the idea. I wanted nothing to do with a little brother. I wanted nothing to do with not being the only child. I was the first kid and the first grandkid. So I was like,
you're special.
Yeah.
I was the most special. And I was like, it's a boy. And like,
Ew.
and I have to share things with it? Like, absolutely not.
Yeah. I'm the only child here, I guess, also.
Yeah.
Between the three of us. I am the only
You are
child.
only child.
So I even think about it sometimes in my, I'm a grown up now. So I think about it sometimes. I'm like, what would it have been if I had a sibling? And I'm like, oh, no. No. No, and it's funny because I love how like the two sisters they call Hen out and they're like, oh, she's definitely an only child.
Kid.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like sometimes you can just tell.
I think it's different too, like based because like I only have brothers and they're younger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I did not have sisters because I think we would have actually killed each other.
Ooh.
I do not think it would have gone well.
It's a different kind of vibe because I have a younger sister.
Condolences.
I think it's very different. I don't have a brother, but I think it's very different than having a brother. Just like the dynamic. Yeah. Not to use that word again, but it's a very different thing. So you also have to like the family has to adjust, but also like whoever's the oldest sibling has to adjust depending on, what kind of sibling they get.
Yeah.
Right. Because that does sometimes that tends to dictate, well, also just like personality really does dictate the kind of relationship that they would have. Some people are better off as only children and some people are better off with siblings.
We do know that Denny is an excellent older brother. He's a great older brother.
Yeah.
And I think I just want to talk about the ending mostly. Because I don't think she's really talking to Karen throughout this, being like, maybe she is, but I feel like she compartmentalizes. So I feel like maybe she doesn't talk to Karen about this stuff until she's like come to a conclusion.
She
Like,
has
she's
to like
not Buck.
ruminate
She's not
on
like
it
just saying
and-
every single thought that runs through her head.
No, but she's not like Buck.
Yeah, but like Karen is observant, so like she's obviously like has noticed something's up with her. So she says like, "Are we still doing this? This is not just about what I want; it's about what we want because it's they're building a family." And Hen says, "When I was a little girl, I was lonely, not all the time, but after my dad left and my mom was working 2 jobs, I felt very alone in the world. I don't want Denny to feel that way. He may not like the idea of a sibling right now, but there will always be wonderful times filled with love." Which I think is just so sweet because, if you have siblings, that's true.
You're kind of like in it together.
That they drive you fucking crazy, but yeah, you have really good memories with them.
You always have someone to like lean on and like share experiences with that like maybe you like that you wouldn't necessarily have with a friend who comes from like a different experience as well. Yeah. So it's just like,
and Karen says, "Hell, they can commiserate about their crazy mothers," which is, yes, something that siblings do bond over, which is whatever brand of fucking up your parents did, because parents fuck up their kids in some way or another. So it's like you get to bond over the specific way they did that to you. You guys know.
Yeah.
No one else does.
Again, it's a way to like not be alone in the world. There's always someone like you're tethered to. And I would just like to say the shot that they do for the IVF, it is called a trigger shot. So I thought that was fantastically on the nose.
That's so funny. Then that scene just ends with Hen saying, "They'll never be bored, and I'm ready if you are." So I love it. It's just such a great Hen Ren moment.
They really are like the couple of all time.
They are when they're communicating.
Yeah.
Yes. That goes for anyone. It's so great when they're open and communicative.
Yeah. Speaking of communicating, that's going to be a theme for going forward. So Maddie and Chimney, they're a little disconnected, would you say?
A little bit.
In this episode?
They're not quite as on the same page as we saw in like 301 or even 2 or whenever it was that they were on the phone call and Maddie got the idea to set up the field hospital. Yeah. They're in the same chapter, but I don't think they're on the same page.
No.
Maddie
gets triggered and she does the thing that I think anyone who is the oldest, especially someone who is parentified, is like, they're going to try and deal with it all on their own. They're not trying to like work through it with a partner, reach out to someone else. They're trying to deal with that shit on their own and not make it someone else's problem, which is not the healthiest decision. And then she just like takes that and then just makes the worst choices she possibly could in this situation.
Yeah. Like, is it understandable? Yes. There's still bad decisions. Like, I get why she wanted to do it.
I don't understand why constantly at work Josh and Deb will be like, "You shouldn't, you're too close to this." And she'll be like, "I know you think I'm triggered," or like whatever's going on in that moment, but like,
and
I'm really okay. And I'm like, they're your superiors. Like, shouldn't they just pull you off of it? Like, if you aren't going to step away, if they know something is too close or triggering you in that moment.
And like, I think this is one of those classic times where like a character kind of gives a little bit of like consoling or advice that ends up being taken a little
too extreme.
Yeah. Because Josh is like totally understandably, he's like, I've dealt with those kind of things before. I've never found the right words to say to someone to like trigger them to get themselves out of this kind of domestic situation, which is like, it's good advice because it comes from experience. It's like there aren't going to be the perfect words. They don't really exist. But then he tacks on like maybe it's not something you can say over the phone. And I know that was like well-meaning, but then Maddie takes it and it's like, oh, too far. Yeah, too far. And another classic case of someone from Dispatch going past the the non-existent glass doors again, and ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Probably like finding information that should not be.
I mean, like, that's
found.
all egregious. It's my problem with this action is like, not only is she endangering herself by putting herself, but she's endangering the woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows that on some level, but she is projecting
hardcore
because of being triggered at the beginning of this episode and not talking about it with anyone. And I don't know, something in her brain was like, save this woman, save yourself.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I think it's because she had such an extreme like PTSD response that's like flooding over. Into her work life, and she's not able to compartmentalize and stuff because, like, one, you can't really compartmentalize that kind of trauma. That's very difficult to do. But you can, but she is aware enough to know that, like, what the path that she's going down is not not a good move.
Is she though?
I think she does, because like,
I think she's aware, but she can't stop herself.
Yes.
She's still not reaching out for help. Like, she has this talk with Chimney, but she's still.
I do love that talk though.
It's a good talk, but she's
just like, okay.
not doing
I
the
just
thing.
feel like that. Well, that specific talk, I just feel like she's just. It's the word isn't complying, but I'm just gonna use that. Like she's just saying that, you know, no more secrets, and then like knowing very damn well she's just gonna keep doing
like it's an empty
yeah
kind of empty, because she's like, she can't. I don't think she's in a place to like really appreciate what Chimney is trying to do for her. Because she's in that like kind of, I think this is going to come up a lot with her, that kind of like fight or flight mentality right now. But she's like fight or flighting for this other lady, Tara. But yeah, I definitely think she is aware of what she's doing, because when we see her in the car, like stalking the house, we see her. And I think like Jennifer Love Hewitt is so expressive in her eyes. I think you can really see her like warring with herself. Like, what am I doing? But I have to do this because I have to make sure that like this other lady is okay. But then that like, can we talk about that, like that really bizarre decision or
she was about to run him over?
Yeah. That was,
well, this is the same woman that talked someone into killing themselves.
The monster.
Let's just say that's completely in character.
Yeah. No, I'm not. It is in character, but it's just like, it's a wild decision because
it's a wild response. That's what I'm saying. Like, is she aware?
I think she is, but it's like a compulsion. That's kind of what I think it is. Like, she's aware, like she's almost probably seeing herself like do these things.
I think it's literally like, in this instance, it was like a dissociating thing almost.
Yeah.
With the Slay the Monster, that was like PTSD and like Mama Bear stuff.
Yeah.
That triggered at the same time.
Yeah. Similar but different.
Yeah. So Chim is just trying to be the best partner ever, always. That's just all he wants to do.
He is husband of the year every year.
It's not a husband yet, but yes.
He's working his way there. But
he's trying, okay? He's trying to get there. And he obviously, you know, realized that something was up with her and took that a little personally at first, and then was like, okay, it's not about me. And then was just trying to figure out how he could like through to her to like let her know that he's not only is he like not Doug, but like that she doesn't have to like try and handle this kind of stuff on her own, that like she can talk about it. And I love the conversation they have, even if she's not being completely genuine, but like he has his own triggering moment on the call with the
boys in the
boys.
Car off the cliff. Yeah, that's a really lovely moment.
Yeah.
Because I think in Chimney telling Maddie about that, because, you know, Maddie says like, oh, hey, you never told me about that before. Chimney is, opening up kind of like what we said in the themes. He's opening up that line of communication between them by making himself vulnerable first. And you kind of have to it's like a give a little to get a little, right? You have to offer a little bit of yourself in order to invite the other person to feel safe and to be vulnerable as well.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just like masterfully done.
Yeah. And he says, like at the end of what he's saying, basically they're saying that she was triggered, but they're like being their weird, goofy selves, like saying, oh, there's probably a word for it. The Germans probably have one. And Chim's like, it's probably 27 syllables long and completely unpronounceable, but whatever it is, it's a part of us, who we are, like them individually and like them as a couple too.
Yeah.
And I just never want you to ever feel like you have to hide that from me. And I'm just like, girl, wake the fuck up
and lock in.
Lock in.
Marry that man right now.
Stop stalking this woman. Or bring him into your shenanigans. He'll do the shenanigans. But you gotta tell him.
That was another thing. I kind of wish she did. I mean, I know like they probably weren't like at that point of their relationship, but like, I feel like later seasons Madney would have definitely they definitely overcame their like communication and trigger issues that they had. For sure.
Later in the season for sure. I don't really have a lot to say about Bobby individually. My notes are, bro, what is you even doing? Me and Athena are side-eyeing your lack of communication skills. Awkward time to be mad at Dad because he might be dead. But what the fuck?
Yeah. I will say with Bobby, I think it's really funny how he's like, oh no, I've created a monster. With Buck just like ever suffering from putting Buck on this path, essentially. He's
amused the entire time too.
He is amused, but in a kind of like harumphy way, like a curmudgeonly. Okay,
it is a very parental thing when you see your own child do a thing exactly the way that you do it, and you're like, oh my god, that's fucking irritating. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. It's like seeing himself through different eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing I have to say about Bobby is like, I like how Athena is trying to be supportive of him.
She's trying to make this man act right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so tired.
She's also like, not mad, I'm just disappointed, basically. Especially
But you are a grown person, so I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah. She's trying to like nudge him
in the right direction. Yeah.
She's like, oh, we'll get into it. I can't. She is me this entire episode, the way she is with Bobby, where she's just like, why just no talk? Why no say words? Very simple.
Yep.
I care about you and don't want to see you almost die again. There. Incredible.
Wow, communication.
No,
So
but
easy.
instead, Bobby is like, I can't lose another kid. And he has in his backwards Black Mirror world decided that Buck is exactly him and doing the exact same thing that he was trying to do. So,
incorrect.
No.
Yeah.
Is that all we have for Bobby?
I was just gonna say, like, he does that thing that Eddie does, or that Shannon says that Eddie does, which is, oh my god.
No, keep saying, because you're right.
He does that thing that Eddie does, which is, making decisions without talking to people, without giving Buck the opportunity to like prove himself or anything,
Ooh, 100%.
Because he knows what's best.
Because he knows what's best. Papa knows best. Peepaw knows best.
Oh my god.
I actually didn't make that connection.
Oh, I'm in my Bobby Eddie maxing era.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Give me more. Whenever it pops up, because like that's an excellent parallel.
It's actually kind of interesting because I know we're talking about how like Bobby sees Buck as himself. But no, he's not. But like, I feel like in earlier seasons, maybe that would have been the case. But as soon as we get through, like, I don't know, like seasons like 5, 6, you're kind of like, oh, this is Eddie. He's actually kind of like Eddie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting when they start flip-flopping.
Yeah. I think that was supposed, like, Buck and Bobby were supposed to be the parallel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it was originally
They
written.
have parallels. They're just in different ways.
Yeah.
But like when we find a lot more similarities between like Bobby and Eddie and like Buck and Athena.
Yeah.
Like further down the line. So I think still you're right. At some point there is like a shift there. So it'll be interesting to see like where we actually think that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done. That was my bit.
Great.
Bobby, Eddie, Maxing. Bye, Beba.
I love Bobby and Maxie.
So excited to talk about Eddie.
Are we ever not excited to talk about Eddie?
We haven't been able to talk about him.
You just like stared into the middle distance.
3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks without my Eddie Bear, my Eddie Pookiebear. I'm going through some very serious
Eddie withdrawals.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
He's not dead.
Anyway.
It feels like he's been forgotten.
Not gone, but forgotten.
Invisible?
Oh, no. I know.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's just doing things off screen. That's all I know.
Yeah.
What things?
I don't know, because he was off screen.
He realized he was gay and in love with Buck off screen. Absolutely.
I mean.
I can just say he did anything off screen if that's what we're doing, Tim.
Canon. Yeah. Mm.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe he ran his parents over with his car off screen.
Oops. He pulled a Maddie?
I don't know.
Had a party with his whole family minus his parents off screen.
Yeah.
The sisters were there.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Anyway, an episode with Eddie in it. So Eddie just has like a totally chill episode where he gets to just, not be traumatized.
No, Eddie may not be traumatized, but his son sure is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost kind of worse for him.
Oh, it's much worse. He would rather be the one having the nightmares. Absolutely. Because I'm sure there's nothing worse, like, as a parent than not being able to, like, help your kid. Especially if they won't tell you, like, what's wrong.
And you're just, like, stuck there, like, watching on as, like, your child is in pain. And that's so much worse. Especially for Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris is having, like, nightmares, waking up screaming every night since the tsunami. And he won't tell Eddie, like, what it's about and says he's fine. So Eddie's obviously, like, not sleeping well and he's really worried. And this is like, literally all his arc is about. That's the other thing about this episode, which I guess I'll talk about more in Buck's section. Everyone is so involved in their own thing that they're not really...
They don't really talk to each other.
Interconnected, talking to each other, talking base about, like, what they're all going through. Like, Chim does a little bit with Eddie.
But Eddie's not in a place to hear it.
Eddie's yawning through it because he did not sleep and he's so worried about his kid. So he has to get advice from fucking Lena. Which is actually decent advice.
Yeah. I would say in general, she's like kind of bad influence on Eddie.
Oh, for sure.
But this was like a little kernel of good advice.
Yes.
Everyone can have them.
Which I think he does. I think he does this in general. So maybe he just needed reminded.
Yeah.
In this situation. Because, like, he's been through a lot in the past couple months, So he's floundering a little bit. But she says to him, like, I don't know your kid, but I know what worked for me. It was when my mom told me how she was feeling and that she was sad and that it was okay. However we felt, we were in it together no matter what. And that's kind of like
what Eddie does. Yeah.
That's what Eddie does. But when he gets in trouble with Christopher is when he doesn't do this.
Yes.
So with Anna, he gets in trouble because he doesn't talk to him about that. He gets in trouble with the dispatch about because he didn't talk to him about that. And right now, season 7, 8, because he didn't talk to him.
It's when Eddie pulls a Bobby and
decides he knows what's best and that they're not a team anymore.
Or is it Eddie pulling an Eddie? Because it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Bobby came first.
It's true.
Yeah. And it is lovely advice. And you really see him do take that to heart. And especially because he is trying so hard to figure out what he can do for Christopher. He's like, he brought Chris to like the child therapist.
Yeah.
Which is also like a correct move, but like also very interesting that, I mean, we'll see this further down the line. We know this. Eddie does everything for Christopher. But he doesn't afford himself the same kind of care. So he puts Chris in therapy because he knows that will help. And Lena kind of says this too, like it may work for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. That's fair. I think Eddie thinks that it doesn't work for him, but he's just like stubborn and that he doesn't deserve to be better.
Therapy famously doesn't work if you don't talk.
Exactly.
It's like number one.
Yeah. So he's doing the, or like making the right steps, making the right moves for Christopher. But it's just like time and time again, so much that he does for Christopher, he does not afford to himself. And he really should, because then you're just not taking care of yourself. And how can you take care of others if can't take care of yourself? Anyways, that's an ongoing thing with Eddie as well. And I do kind of love how the light bulb kind of goes off for Eddie, for Christopher, by, when he's at the therapist's office, the therapist is like, maybe Chris is trying to communicate in different ways. So we see that theme of communication again, but not necessarily like verbally, right? So he shows him all of the pictures that Christopher has drawn, which is very concerning, but like totally understandable for like a 7 or 8 year old. Like it's art therapy, but like for an art therapist, that would be something of concern, right? Yeah. And he would probably try to figure out like who the woman in the drawing is, because I think we know right away, oh, it's Shannon, but like they don't know right away. And it takes Eddie to see the picture of like my family up in Chris's bedroom with the same woman with the same dress, like drawn the same way. It's like, oh, and Chris is like, light bulb goes off. Chris is compounding his traumas, right? Because they happen pretty much back to back, which is wild. I feel like also the therapist should have probably realized that, but that's neither here nor there. So it's just like, of course, Christopher, like his little kid brain is like mashing these terrible traumatic events together.
I just don't. I don't know. I think I just have an issue with the therapist because I'm like, why? I don't know. Like why it wasn't like a bigger red flag about like, this one woman drowning, like the picture that he's drawing. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
I kind of wonder if Eddie did not think to tell the therapist about Shannon, because you would think like, oh yeah, he just went through the tsunami and lost his mother.
As a therapist, you're not supposed to. I mean, granted, all my therapy experience is as an adult, but I think it probably goes with children as well, at least to a certain extent. You're not supposed to like assume things.
No, but you can ask questions that might like open up a discussion. I'm also thinking of it a little bit as like, now I'm not trained as an art therapist or anything like that. I studied like in medicine, or like utilizing arts in like a medical hospital setting. But like we learned a little bit of art therapy, and art therapy can be used as a diagnostic tool. Now that therapist is probably not an art therapist, but there would definitely
that was just a therapist.
Yeah. But there would definitely be like things there that like an art therapist would be like, okay, that's very indicative of like something, so.
I don't know. There's only one good therapist on this show.
Frank.
Yeah.
Bring Frank back for everybody. Bottle episode therapy hours.
That's That's one of the most unrealistic things about it is that most of them aren't in therapy. And when they are in therapy, it's like for a couple episodes and then they're done. Like, this is complex trauma. They would continually or just like periodically, like go back. Anyway,
back to Christopher.
Back to Eddie and Christopher. So he does figure it out. So he just asks him, he's like, is this your mom? And he's like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, I didn't want to make you sad. And Eddie says, there's nothing wrong with being sad. I loved your mom and I miss her and I probably always will, but we still got each other, which means we're going to be okay. And he is just the parent. He's the parent of all time.
I love gentle parent Eddie.
Yeah.
He's so good with him.
He's fantastic. Like when Eddie and Christopher have those heart to hearts, that like very open communication, which it takes two to really do that. It's so beautiful, like their relationship, to see when everything is like working like that. Like Eddie is being open and vulnerable and communicative, which helps Christopher be open and vulnerable and communicative, because we also see like Christopher, we've said this before, is a very intuitive kid. And it's so sad that like at 7 or 8 years old, he's learned or he thinks that he has to like quiet his experiences so as not to like upset Eddie. And I feel like that's not something that was taught to him. I think that's something that's just like inherent. But I also feel like that's something that Eddie has done himself, but like throughout his life.
Wow, this is hard.
I know. I'm just like, I can't wait to see them like in a really good, better place again.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought about 813 just now. I was like,
I know.
Man.
Yeah. Like,
he just doesn't want to upset any of his parental figures and just like, or disappoint them, and just like hides whatever is making him upset or uncomfortable or sad. And I mean, it's kind of like what Eddie has done.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, Rachel. I don't think that's something that is taught to him, because like Eddie has always been the parent that is trying to be there.
The opposite.
Well, trying to do the opposite and just trying to be there in general. Just like making sure that Chris is taken care of. And it's...
Yeah, but the problem is I would love for them to... Chris is old enough that they could have him and Eddie really talk about this. The problem is that and Eddie doing everything for Christopher, and Eddie trying to make sure that Christopher knows that he's safe to open up and he can feel his feelings and he can, you know what I mean? He doesn't do the same thing. Yeah. So even though he has taught Christopher that like, you're just a kid, you're allowed to like, you know, just be a kid. You don't need to be going around like doing things just to make other people happy. That's not like your job. He is learning
exactly what Eddie does
from watching what Eddie does. And his dad is like his hero. So he sees his dad killing himself to make sure that he doesn't inconvenience anyone he loves. And so it's suppressing his emotions down, making those smaller or non-existent so that he can take care of other people and make them happy and proud.
It's a prime example of Eddie really like killing himself over and over again to avoid something. However, like the more he tries to not, the more it happens anyways, not on purpose, but just like kind of as a result, like the pendulum swings like too far one way, then it'll swing too far the other way. And it's just like his intentions are so pure and so good and rooted in, I'm going to do better and I'm going to do the best that I can do, that it's like an overcorrection. It's an overcompensation.
Yeah.
It's kind of heartbreaking because that's the result that he's exactly trying to like not have, but it happens anyways.
Put yourself first, bro.
For real.
Or at least try to put yourself first, and then teach that lesson to your kid.
Yeah.
Also put himself first.
Well, because think about like, I'm sure there's behaviors that you learned from your parents they didn't teach you to do, but you observed them doing. So like, I learned to be a people pleaser by watching my mom be a people pleaser. She didn't teach me to be a people pleaser. but I observed her doing it for my entire life. And so then I perpetuated that same behavior. So I would love to see them address this in the show.
Yeah. I would
love to see
that. That
Chris.
would be like the breakthrough.
It would be a breakthrough for him because like his family, his friends, a priest, whatever could say whatever. But if your son is saying by never doing anything for yourself, that's the behavior that I've learned from you. Like
put yourself last.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Eddie is putting himself last by putting Christopher first. So Christopher is kind of learning accidentally to like put himself last and everyone else first. It's the polar opposite of what Eddie's like trying to do, but it just shows like, okay, new tactic needed. But that's a very deep rooted thing that I don't think he can just turn off overnight.
No, we could make any progress.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see a breakthrough of them just like really sitting down and hashing things out. We don't have to see the whole thing, but just kind of like,
some of it.
The start of it.
The big points.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just going to continue that hamster wheel.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Buck, baby. What episode this season am I going to be able to go, let's talk about Buck, and not start with going, he's going through it?
Oh, hello, clipboard Buck.
Introducing Fire Marshal Buckley. Personal motto, I don't quit, I fight. He took that shit seriously.
Took
it real seriously.
Again, a little too seriously. I'm going to fight to get back to my job. That's fighting in not a fight or flight survival mode. That is fighting like conflict fighting. Yee.
Well, we'll get there.
For him, it is still survival mode.
It's a lot of things. He's adjusting to this temporary position by telling himself it is the most temporary thing to ever be temporary and trying to be perfect at it to make to make his father proud. Show that he's taking that job seriously and taking his like recovery seriously because he wants to get back on the job.
Everything is a means to an end to get back on the job. So he is going to throw himself in with 2 feet, with maybe one crushed leg, and just like, I'm going to be the best.
I think he's adjusting pretty well at the beginning of this episode, but then wouldn't you know it, his family goes and triggers him. He shows up to the 118 to like deliver their report and talk about how he got fancy with the math that they passed.
Oh boy.
It's fun for about 5 seconds. And then it's, who the fuck is that person talking to Eddie? Who is that? Oh, you're replacing me? No, we're not replacing you. What's that? It's literally just the B from his name.
That is uncalled for.
That is uncalled for.
With Osco written over it. I was like, girl, you don't need it. You don't need to do that.
No, whoever did that was uncalled for. I don't think you can slice that any other way than just like unnecessary. You did not have to put the Osco after the B from Uckley, like on top of the Uckley. Like, ooh, that's rough.
Who did it though?
And the fact that no one told him about it, but he had to show up there and find out about it.
Yeah.
It's basically season 2 all over again, except it's worse because he does, in no world are him and Lena ever going to be bros. And he's in an even worse place right now because, he's not even working.
I think that scene is really, really interesting to compare to 201 because, first of all, the way like Eddie drops Buck like a hot potato to like go chill with Lena over in the gym.
Dude, it was so weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. You're going to tell me that Buck's here and Eddie's not going to pay like 1000% attention to it? Okay.
Mind you, like this is after maybe a couple days, a week, I don't know, after the whole like there's no one else I trust with my son. Like what's happening anyway?
Yeah. But it's also like the way it's framed and the look that Buck has when he turns around, kind of in the same motion that he turns around in 201 where we see Eddie. It's like him with that same expression on his face of just like, who is in my house? Sort of situation. And then it also pans to like Hen and Chim, who like they share a look because they're like, oh boy, we've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so much worse because at this point wasn't in like a place of feeling abandoned like he was with Abby, but he's feeling, and not, so it's not even that like he's feeling insecure in that way. He's feeling just like, I'm fully being replaced, as opposed to like an instigator has like come into the premises, sort of, not instigator, an imposter has like entered the premises.
Yeah. I also feel like he's experiencing his like abandonment issues. So like this is like just the start of it, because like Eddie immediately just goes to her. I feel like I'm going to talk about this later, but yeah, so he goes to her. So that's just one or maybe the second tick on the list of, okay, I'm being abandoned, because like the other thing is just like he's not working there. So then there's that. And then as we go throughout the episode, like you just see like what would he consider, I guess, like ultimate betrayals, because he goes on throughout this, like in the first part or the first like half or front half of the episode is like defending the 118. He's defending, to the lawyer when the lawyer wanted to go talk to him. He's defending the 118. He's defending the apartment, city employees. Like he went on this whole like speech about like how they have his back, and then we flip it around, which we'll talk about in our scene dissection, and it's just like he takes this as the ultimate betrayal. Like, what happens, what is being revealed.
So it is the culmination of everyone being so in their own nuclear, what's happening with me and my partner, or me and my kid, what's happening with me and my nuclear family. It's not Fire Fam right now. It's their individual families. And everyone's so involved and has their own shit going on
with their own home lives.
And they talked about this in episode 1 of this season. But I think because of the aftermath of the tsunami and everything, and Buck's actually fine, and Buck didn't actually quit, and he's out of bed, and he's doing the fire marshal thing, people aren't worried about him in a way that they're like, we need to like do something about the Buck situation. They're just like, well, he's working this job until he's off the blood thinners, and then he'll be back at work. And that's kind of just like sorted for them. And so everyone's just involved in their own stuff, especially Eddie is involved in his own stuff. So no one's hanging out with him outside of work. No one's doing anything with Buck, because Eddie is dealing with his kid who can't sleep because he keeps having nightmares and trying to help his kid. And Hen and Karen are trying to have a kid. And Maddie and Chimney they're not even talking to each other. So they aren't talking to Buck. Like, she's too busy stalking someone, and Chimney's too busy trying to figure out how to like get her to talk to him. And, Bobby is too busy trying to not talk to Buck because he does not want to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's just like everybody is so preoccupied with their home lives, which again, Buck does not have one. He would already feel disconnected because he's not working, but he feels even more disconnected from them now because they're not kind of all leaning on each other. They're kind of leaning on either themselves or their partners. And I think that is just that factor is making Buck feel like he's standing alone here, which is kind of, I really love at kind of the end of this scene when, we obviously know Bobby's going to try to confess, basically try to tell Buck, like it was me. But they get a call, and then everybody like runs out of there. And we see this is like such a great shot, because we know with like firefighting, you have to like leave a man behind at the station, right? They have Buck being the man left behind essentially, because as the engines pull out of the station, the camera is just like staying on Buck. Like as he's just kind of like, the camera's like pulling away, and he's just like standing there all on his own as he's watching everybody else literally leave him.
He's a sad dog in the rain.
He is a sad dog in the rain. He's literally being the man left behind on shift because he can't go with them. And because they're also like in their own worlds.
And I think for him right now, he has this very precarious balance. He's like, okay, I'm doing what I have to do to get back to my job, and I'll get back to my job soon. I'm doing everything that I have to do. And he has this checklist, and he's telling himself, I think, trying to like logic with himself, like why he's not really hearing from people that much. there was just a tsunami and everyone has their own stuff going on. But I think when you combine that then with finding out the betrayal that he assumes everyone else knows, which I don't think they do.
Oh, that Bobby is the one that...
No.
I doubt it.
I don't think they do.
If Bobby hadn't told Buck, I don't think he would have told. I think he was keeping this close to the chest.
I don't think they ever do. That's something that they explore a lot in Fix. But because everyone is not talking to him, really, like he has to go to them for them to talk to him right now. So with that being like, oh my God, I'm being replaced, I still can't go back. Bobby is actively keeping me from coming back, and he thinks everyone knows about it. And it's just like, that's what I think. That's how I envision this whole thing. And that's like the nail in the coffin. It isn't just Bobby. It isn't just him going, well, Bobby betrayed me and flipping out because of that. He thinks it's everyone. He thinks everyone
is on Bobby's side.
And
that is not Buck's side.
Thinks everyone agrees with what Bobby says, which we'll get into. I think that's why he's just like, he goes to the lawyer, because normally who would he go to? He would go to Maddie or he would go to Eddie, but
they're dealing with their own shit.
They're dealing with their own stuff. And he's also like, well, they must agree. So he goes to the lawyer, and the lawyer, like, to his credit, is upfront with him.
Yeah.
Is telling him, like, this is how it's going to go. If you don't win, even if you do win, you might not be a firefighter again.
Which seems like an insane risk for
Buck
to take, whose only goal is to be a firefighter again.
But he's not
thinking straight.
It's the CPTSD.
Yeah.
So it's so many things combined.
That whole decision is purely
it's a trauma response.
Yeah, a trauma response. It is. That decision is triggered by all of the trauma that he's been going through,
because he thinks it's the only thing he can do. Like, I think realistically what he could have done is LAFD, a lot of firefighters, but I looked it up specifically, LAFD firefighters are represented by unions.
Go to the union rep,
who are like your liaison to fight for you between you and your employer.
And then that would have been like intra-department, and they would have been able to figure something out.
Yes.
But again, he's not thinking very clearly,
no, exactly.
but he saw a potential solution and he glommed onto that. He was like, oh, okay.
Because I think also the one bit of logic that would have been in his head would have been like, well, if Bobby's stopping me, then
the rest of
he's poisoned
the department. Yeah,
exactly.
Which I think is one of the reasons why he ends up deciding to sue, is the department, because not only is it a betrayal from Bobby, and if we're going with your line of thinking of everybody else, then it would obviously go up the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Like the 118, Bobby, the rest of the fire department, not on Team Buck. So that's, I think, why he says he feels so alone in this fight. He's literally an island.
He literally says, I'm alone in this fight. And he says, I'm not sure, because he's like, you won't be able to talk to them. To protect the case. And he's like, I'm not sure we have much to say to each other right now anyway. So he's just lumping everyone in with, if Bobby is doing this on purpose, then everyone else agrees with Bobby's decision. And I would just, before we get into our scene dissection, like to the first flashback to see how far we've come before we get into the scene dissection. His first meeting with the lawyer, he's like,
oh my God.
He's just incensed by this guy. He's like, you're gonna sue the city? Like, these people are heroes. He goes on this whole monologue.
And
he ends it with
kind of, it's not quite righteous, but it's very, yeah.
Well, I think
he's very certain.
Well, he's having he has the city and the department and the firehouse, and he has their back. So,
but yeah, he says, you want to know who's got my back? Because he's like, who's protecting you? I think is what the lawyer says. He's like, who's protecting you? And he says, you want to know who's got my back? They do. See, they're more than coworkers or friends. They're my family, and there's nothing stronger than family. Bobby Nash.
Ooh.
You could have said 2 sentences and prevented this. It's just anyway, we're gonna get into that now. I can't skirt around it any further.
Hey! Where's the fire?
Yeah, so this is going to be our where's the fire scene dissection. We're talking about that dinner.
And then the bomb drop at the end, because I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, so not to go to our other section, but who's cooking? And it's Bobby.
He's always cooking.
I know.
And he's cooking himself in this episode. Like, let's be clear. Like, he brought this on himself. I'm going to defend Buck's actions. Do I think it was a logical thing for him to do? No. Do I think there were other things he could have done? Yes. Do I think that he was in a state to have thought or done those other things? No.
No. Not that Buck can't be held responsible for his actions, but they were not.
No, I'm not saying he can't.
They were not actions from a healthy mental state.
No.
So.
Oh, Lord. Okay. We open this scene and Bobby is cooking and Athena comes home and she's like so excited to have this dinner with her husband and her pseudo son.
It's so cute. I want more of these, please.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby's like, I can't believe that you invited him without talking to me first. And Athena, the only person who has Buck's back in this episode.
Uh-huh.
The only person who has his back. I think she was, I mean, like Eddie also had his back too in the previous arc. But like she was also the one that was like, you have to let him make his own mistakes.
Yes.
In episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Buck is not you.
Exactly.
She says that. And she
literally
so
does.
she knows.
And he was like, I know that I can hear, but I choose not to. Those words just did not make it into the eardrum. But she says, I just wanted him to know that no matter what, he's still family. I thought dinner would give you two time to work things out. Because she gets Buck.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, also Buck and Athena have come so far from, like,
yeah.
pilot episode.
And I just rewatched that yesterday with my best friend.
I love anytime we get, like, little nuggets of Buck and Athena, because I think their dynamic is so fascinating.
We're going to get it next week, probably.
Yeah. But, like, for moments like this, I really love how far they've come. And, like, I love that Athena talked to Buck without Bobby even knowing. And that's sweet. That's
she's just trying to get her boys to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually did think that they already talked.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you told me he came to the firehouse, and she assumed that her husband would be an adult and say 2 sentences.
Mm-hmm. And then he gives the excuse saying, like, well, he did, and I was going to, but then we got a call, and da-da-da. No, you call Buck on the phone, you go to his apartment, something like that. Like, we never really see Bobby make,
like a house call to...
Because, even if he had told
Has he
him
ever
there...
been to his loft?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, we've never seen, like, Bobby go over to Buck's place.
Is he one of the people that goes over after the lightning strike? Because I know, like, everyone was on a rotation.
Maybe, but we never, like, see it.
It's interesting.
But even if Bobby had told him, it was still Buck going to him. Like, he didn't do not just the due diligence of, like, his boss.
Yeah.
To tell, just be upfront and honest and be like, you know, I value you as an employee and I want you back, but I don't think you're ready yet because I want you to be safe, you know? But as his friend, as his pseudo father, like
overstepping.
Well, he's overstepping, but I'm like, you should have gone to him. You should have gone to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of all of these things.
Exactly.
And you didn't.
So, like, Bobby is kind of a little cowardly lion here because would he have, I know he, I guess, was going to tell Buck at some point, would he have if Buck didn't drop off the results of their evaluation right then? Because that's Buck trying to insert himself back into the sphere of the 118, but we never see Bobby, like, make that, like, gesture, kind of like olive branch peace offering to Buck in that way. It's all just like, well, Buck came here. I was gonna tell him since he was there. If Buck hadn't shown up there,
he's the one who found.
Yeah, because Bobby doesn't make any of that, like, instigative effort.
No,
and he's just like, he's not being a good pseudo dad. He's not being a good friend.
He's not being a good captain either.
He's not being a good captain or boss.
And it's because he's letting this is Bobby being triggered because he's
Yeah.
not letting himself see Buck as Buck. Bobby is seeing himself.
He's seen himself and his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't lose another kid.
Mm-hmm.
So he's double triggered, but I'm sorry, I don't care. You're a grown-ass man. You're a grown-ass man. You're this man's boss. Fucking...
It's just, it's really egregious on like all of the levels because it is not professional and it is not the actions of someone who loves someone. I mean, it is, but it's like the overprotective parent kind, which is like,
it's taking his autonomy away again. It's taking his choice and his decisions. It's taking just his personhood away to just like assume that he's doing things for the same reasons that you were.
Yeah.
Like,
he's not treating him as an individual at all.
No, not as his own person.
So they have this very tense dinner where Athena is like, well, I will get the wine since you two haven't talked like
she's really like,
should have.
Like, I feel like as soon as Bobby told her that they didn't talk, she was like, this is going to go downhill. I'm going to break out that bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm. She knew.
She
was like,
she was trying to placate everything too.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's going to be a great dinner.
And Buck comes in and he's so proud of himself because he told the lawyer off and he's relaying the whole thing, saying how like he's not going to sign anything that blames the 118 for anything. And Bobby's like, appreciate that. And Buck says, please, the nerve of that guy to think I would turn on my friends.
Meanwhile,
Bobby's just digging himself like deeper and deeper. He's going into that 40-foot well.
Yeah.
Like with Eddie, he's just like everything that he's saying, everything that Buck is saying is just like, ooh, you really should have done this sooner, my guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Athena knows that because she's just like,
she keeps making all the faces that I'm making while I watch it, where I'm just like,
anybody want cornbread?
Well, first it's the collard greens. The cornbread's one really funny, but first it's collard greens, and then Buck is like, no, it has too much vitamin K, and I can't do that with the. And she's like, it sounds like you're taking your health very seriously. While looking at Bobby,
significant look over to Bobby, like,
Buck's like, I figure the better I manage this, the sooner I can go back to work. And Bobby's like, that's very mature of you, Buck. And then we get into
and you see Bobby's guilty look as well, because he's like, ooh, this is not going to go well for me. And Athena's like, you're damn right it's not going to go well for you.
So Buck is like, hey, there's strength in numbers. Like, maybe I could get everyone to sign a statement of support to the higher-ups that you guys don't think I'm a liability. And then Bobby's trying to interrupt him now. But he's like doing it very quietly. He's like, Buck. He's like, they'd have to listen. And because Bobby's like, I want you to listen to me. And I'm like, now is when you want him to listen to. It's just it's a fucking mess.
It's very similar to what we saw in 301, where Buck was like, I'm looking to you, Bobby, to advocate for me. Yeah. Because I know you care about me.
You have my back.
Because you have my back.
Because you're family.
Your family, like, for all of the roles that you're playing in my life. He's asking Bobby to advocate for him. He's asking for something that he needs.
Which he never fucking does.
He never does. And I think that's one of the reasons why he gets so frustrated and worked up about it.
As someone, listen, yes, I project on Buck. We have similarities. But as someone who never asks for help, if I ask for help and not only am I denied the help, but I find out that you're like actively working against the thing that I'm asking for help for, I'm never asking for help again.
Yeah.
Absolute. No. Nuclear option. I understand what he does so much.
Oh, of course.
Insanity. But it's just all the stuff that Buck is saying. If you told them that I was ready, I mean, these dumbasses, they would have no right to keep me.
No right, yeah. What right does
Bobby's
Bobby
like,
have?
I'm the dumbass. You're not ready. That's what I told them when they asked. I'm like, there were a million ways that Bobby could have delivered this. And the way he says it is the worst way possible because he doesn't deliver it with concern for Buck.
It's very like...
Or his own
factual.
Concerns.
Yeah.
And
kind
he's very much
almost.
acting. He is saying like, you're a liability. I don't think you're ready. I have to worry about the way he said. Oh, he pisses me off. Me off.
So the way that he says like the medication is the reason why I don't think you're ready. So it's like on that aspect, is it like even the department's stance that like someone on blood thinners cannot work?
I don't think it ever
it
was
is.
in the fictional
No.
world. I think in the real world you can't, but I think in the fictional world,
Right.
I don't think it ever was.
And
I think we debated this in episode 1.
I think so. But then for Bobby to say like it's because of the medication, and it's because as a captain of 20 others whose lives are on the line, and it's just like Bobby really is taking like the most like disconnected like route to try to explain this, which is the wrong route, the wrong path, because this is not just a professional thing for Buck. Bobby is trying to be professional captain
This is also
right
the
now.
bottom of the barrel reason for him.
Yeah.
It's like the last reason.
Because unlike what Eddie is doing with Christopher, Bobby is not being vulnerable with Buck and saying like, this is why, because I've had these worries about A, B, and C. Like this is coming from like my heart. No, he's not giving Buck any vulnerability. There's no like give a little, get a little here. It's just like
It's
this. I'm acting as a professional, like in a professional capacity. I'm not giving you anything like personal to
And
like
Athena's
understand.
trying to help this man who's digging himself even deeper.
Oh, she's trying, and there's no helping that.
he claims, so Bobby like claims that he's his friend, and it's like, but every other thing that he's saying, it's just like the opposite of it. It's not, so it's not even personable the way he's explaining it to Buck. He's just not.
No,
it's just like all of the worst ways that you can explain that, or not explain that you care for someone.
He doesn't say that at all.
Yeah. So you kind of have to like read it like back, like read between the lines to like understand like what he's trying to say. But obviously, like that's obviously what Buck is not hearing,
capable of doing.
And no, just not hearing it. And Bobby's not realizing how like impactful these words that he's saying right now is to him.
Well,
no,
and
you're right.
I think Buck doesn't always take everything said to him literally, but he does more often than not take what is said to him at face value. I also think that like he is a big actions person. But the actions and the words, why would he think that anything different was happening here? And Athena is trying to offer in some of the actual reasoning and truth. She's like, Bobby is just worried about you, Buck. That's all. We all are. Which is the truth.
But it's not coming from Bobby.
Yeah, but Bobby just says, I am your friend. And I know you glossed over it, but I just want to say the exact wording. I am also the captain. That's it. That's all. That's the personal part. I am your friend. That's it. That's all he gives Buck. I am also the captain of almost 20 other firefighters whose lives and safety depend on decisions I make, and I can't put them at risk. You're not operating at 100%. And then Buck is like, fists on the table. I am at 100%. I maybe even more. Like I've never felt so good.
Yeah. Like,
and it's just
like,
oh my God.
The way Buck is trying to explain this, trying to like get this through to Bobby.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it a temper tantrum because it is 1000% warranted, but like the frustration that Buck is showing, because especially in front of Bobby, is it's just like so visceral for him. And again, this is one of the things, we don't see Buck frustrated and angry like this often. So anytime that he is, it's fairly significant. Most of the time, I think it's with his parents. Well, I mean, that stands. It is very interesting to me, just like how frustrated he is, but he's like letting it out and letting it show because Bobby isn't getting it.
No, Bobby
doesn't want to get it, even though he's told him time and time again he feels great. And then Bobby says the thing of like, I know you've been through a lot with the tsunami and you feel like you can survive anything. And it's like, okay, I think Buck of maybe very, very early in season 1 would think that he could survive anything. But I don't think the Buck that we know now would feel like that.
He's turning down collard greens, for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah. So I think Bobby is kind of doing Buck a little bit of a disservice there by like, I mean, obviously Bobby isn't seeing Buck for like who he is at the moment because Bobby is seeing himself and his kids.
Buck does sign off with a very dramatic line, which I approve of. Bobby says that, like, you feel like you can survive anything. He's like, yeah, anything, like a knife in my back.
Too Brutus.
I mean, he's not wrong. Yeah. And he's gracious to Athena this entire time, too. Because, like, it's not Athena's fault.
He does act like
Athena
kind of
reached out to him and invited
yeah.
him to dinner. Athena's the one who's been showing that. Athena's the only one that's been showing him that she cares this entire episode.
And seeing Buck for who he is right now, which is like maturing in certain ways and like seeing the effort that Buck is making. And Bobby's just continually blind to it.
Yeah.
Yep. So he thanks her. He's like, I'm sorry, but like, I gotta go. But thank you for inviting me. And they both try to stop him. He doesn't say anything else. Like he just storms out, which
fair.
Valid.
Yeah. Yep. You just you remove yourself from the situation. If you get really, really angry, it's not going to be productive. And he does that, which is a very mature thing to do. Because he's hurt and he's in no place to, but where is he going to go? Home by himself, which is also not going to be helpful.
No.
So he's probably stewing in it.
I think he really did just go, oh, he's repeating those words back and it's, I'm captain of 20 other people. And I think he's just hearing that it's everyone. No one wants him back. They've replaced him. No one wants him back. No one thinks that everyone thinks he's a liability. No one thinks he can do his job. And tangentially, Maddie would approve of that like whole thought process too, because she's attached to Chimney now. So
there's no one else that he can turn to.
Yeah.
So if he goes home by himself and is just like stewing in that and like going over that over and over in his head, of course that makes sense. Like he's gonna take the nuclear option and it's like probably saw the lawyer's card on his kitchen island and is like solution. So like I see the logic there. Can't fault him for that because it's extreme. Yes. Is it warranted? Kind of. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think that there were other things he could do? Yes. But do I think that this was wrong of him to do? No.
Okay, so afterwards, when Buck stops by Bobby and Athena's to apologize, for storming out of dinner.
And I think this was mature of him too. So like,
yes.
I think he thinks he is being mature and he's advocating for himself because no one else will. Because he thinks no one else will.
So he has to do it. And I think him wanting them to hear about the lawsuit from him rather than another party, it's kind of similar to when he hand delivered the evaluation earlier.
Yes.
He's like, I'm gonna hand deliver this. I'm gonna show up for you. I'm gonna show up. But nobody's showing up for him.
Yeah. And he apologizes for walking out on dinner. Like, and Athena's like, it's her kid. It's like, oh, my prodigal son, he has returned. And it's like, oh, things just got a little heated. No need to apologize. Like, come in.
Yeah, she's like, no harm, no foul, right?
And Bobby says, yeah.
Bobby.
Which is just like, yeah, he agrees that Buck should come in too. But like, it's like, really? You still have no fucking word? Bro.
Bobby, what are you doing?
Yeah, you could have just said, yeah, come in. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about things.
Why are you emotionally constipated all of a sudden?
Right?
Like, seriously.
Well, it's because Bobby is triggered.
I know,
why.
But like, for fuck's sake, pull it together. It's your kid.
I have a question.
Yes.
At any part in this, does Bobby say, I'm sorry?
Nope.
No.
He doesn't apologize. So why would Buck think that it's something that he regrets? Buck thinks that Bobby stands by it. To an extent, like, Bobby doesn't really feel remorse for what he's done. I think he feels bad for how it's affecting Buck, but I don't think Bobby is at the point yet where he's like, oh, I messed up. That was actually not a good thing to do. I think he's still kind of standing by it.
I think he still stands by it. I don't think he ever apologizes.
Yeah.
He never apologizes.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think he just thinks that it was the right thing for him
Oh my God.
as the captain and for Buck.
Oh, Bobby. Bobby. Okay, I need two things. I need Bobby to pop out of that casket, and then I need him to apologize for something that happened 7 years ago. 5 years ago, excuse me.
He needs to apologize for the trauma that he's inflicted on all of us,
Yeah.
including us.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, he never apologizes.
No.
That infuriates me because it's like, you can at least admit when you're wrong. And he doesn't even do that.
I'm looking at episode 6 transcript. No, sorry.
Okay, that kind of grinds my gears a little bit.
Mhm.
That makes me very, Bobby, I'm very disappointed in you right now.
Yeah.
They just kind of like, get over it.
Yeah, he's like, it's because you jumped in there and saved him. Probably didn't even occur to you to worry about yourself. And Buck's like, I know I didn't, just rush in like I always do. I guess it's like the uniform is my costume. I put on suddenly I'm brave and I'm strong and I make a difference. Feels like without it, I'm not much of anything. Bobby says, Buck, you saved 2 lives without the uniform. It's not a costume, it's who you are. Buck, does this mean that you're ready to let me back for real? Bobby, doesn't matter if I'm ready, you are. It's time for me to get out of your way.
Okay, no apology.
No apology.
We'll discuss that when we get to that episode as well.
Yeah, but no apology.
Like,
this is one of the reasons that, very briefly, 2 sentences. This is one of the reasons that I needed, if Bobby's actually dead, and that was his goodbye to Buck, that's why I needed him to say something to acknowledge that that is his fucking kid, other than being like, I love you, kid. Like, because they never talked about it with each other. No. They talked about it with other people, but never each other. And if that was the goodbye, I'm wholly disappointed in it.
I guess when Bobby pops up out of the dirt and he's done his
It's gonna Dean Winchester crawl his way through.
Jack in the Box?
Yeah, well, yeah. When he pops up out of the ground like a daisy.
Oh my God.
I hope he will have thought about his life and his choices. And like maybe, I don't know, he and Buck can have a heart-to-heart where it's like, yeah, I love you like you're my son.
He's gonna have some time to think about while he's sitting in that coffin trying to get the fuck out.
Yeah. What better time to contemplate things?
To contemplate the meaning of life and the people around you.
The people above you who are
especially if
you.
you have like a new lease on life, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm suddenly more grateful for everything I have. And it's just like, also like so many other people acknowledge the fact that Bobby and Buck are father and son, but never the two of them, because we have Athena where Athena is like,
they acknowledge it, just never to each other. They talk about it to other people, but not with each other.
You also have May, like, you brought a son into the marriage and stuff like that. And it's just like, I need you to talk. Anyways.
Yep, season 6 we get Bobby saying it, we get Athena saying it over Buck in a coma. Like, I don't think he can survive losing another kid. And then we get season 7, Buck saying, like, he's the closest thing I have to a father.
Yeah. When he's at dinner. Yeah.
Anyway, that's been scene dissection.
Man, we sure dissected that scene. Cornbread?
Oh wait, did we talk about the bomb drop? Really? I mean, I guess we did, just like loosely.
Yeah.
Him delivering the news.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just, I told you I wouldn't stop fighting until I got my job back. And I won't, even if it means fighting you. And he's like visibly upset about doing it.
Yeah.
He's deriving no joy in this.
He doesn't want to be doing that, but he feels like his back is up against the wall.
Feels like it's his only choice.
And his only choice, because he is an island of one.
Yeah.
Like almost like he's still stuck on that fire engine life raft by himself a little bit. And nobody is there that he can like lean on. And yeah, he doesn't want to be doing it. No. Just very briefly, like when he spoke to the lawyer about his case, and the lawyer is like, you can't have contact with anyone, even tangentially related to the station. It's like, well, tangentially, that would include Christopher, and that will come up.
Yeah. And his sister. That's his entire life. Like literally his entire life is tangentially related to the station.
So it's like he's feeling so isolated and alone, yet him making this decision is like totally cutting things off even more than it already is. And it's like, that does not serve Buck.
Because he sees no difference right now. He sees no difference. He's like, everyone is doing their own thing and no one is concerned about me being back there.
Yeah.
Which in turn to him means no one's concerned about like keeping me in their life. So I'm the one who has to fight and advocate for myself to do that.
Oh.
Anyway.
That's Buck.
That's Buck.
Cornbread?
So not a ton of stuff for Slowburn this week because they like don't even talk.
Sounds fake, but okay.
Good to see you, man. And then that's it.
That's how you address the person that saved your son. Okay.
Exactly. The person you were like making fucking moo cow eyes at the last episode.
Like moved so you maintained eye contact. Like, no.
Yeah, I know he's got his own shit going on. So we're just gonna break this down. What is the origin of Buddie?
Got my back.
You can have my back any day, or you could have mine. Okay. What's the theme of this episode? Having Buck's back. Who has it? No one. No one has it right now. He thinks that they do. He thinks that the 118 has his back, but he said, who's got my back? They do. And then we get, I'm alone in this fight. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And immediately after he says that, it cuts to Eddie boxing with the heavy bag. And Lena's also there.
The literal fighting.
Yes. But he's alone in this fight. That's literal fighting. But also, that's the person who would have his fucking back right now if he wasn't dealing with his own shit. And then we don't do that once. We do it twice. We have Eddie when he says, but we still got each other, which means we're gonna be okay. And then it immediately cuts to Buck at Bobby and Athena's asking Buck, is everything all right?
Oh,
they're insane.
They are.
They're fucking insane in this season. This is so heavy-handed.
I have a question about the we're gonna be okay thing.
Yes.
Have we, prior to 301, have we seen Eddie and Christopher say that to each other? Or is that introduced in 301?
I don't know.
Because I can't
top of my head.
Because I can't remember. Because if it's introduced in 301 as Christopher saying it to Buck, and then we have, Eddie saying this to Christopher, and maybe he has said it to him and we've seen it before in season 2. I don't remember.
It feels like I've seen it in season 2.
Maybe in Stuck. Either way, like that is a connection there because like Eddie says it to Christopher learns it, and he then imparts it onto Buck as well. It's a way to tie their little family unit together in that way. Like this bit of wisdom from Eddie is now reaching all the way to Buck as well.
Yeah.
Whether or not we have seen it prior to 301.
But this is just the parallels of this and like how they keep cutting directly from, even though they have nothing together. It's still tying them together narratively.
Yeah.
And it is showing you that they are not okay when they don't have each other's backs. Neither one of them. So Eddie's really struggling this episode and he handles it. But he would have been doing a lot better if he could have had Buck helping him.
Absolutely. And you know what, too? That probably something that probably could have avoided all of this with the lawsuit stuff, because we do see that Eddie is kind of confiding in Lena, right? Who is replacing, quotey fingers, Buck. So if Eddie had gone to Buck and confided in Buck about what's going on with Christopher and offered that bit of vulnerability from himself to Buck, well, it's the same thing that we see with Chimney and Maddie. You give a little to get a little. Eddie would have been communicative and vulnerable, so Buck would have been able to be communicative and vulnerable, and neither of them would have had to feel alone if they had just gone to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think we would have seen the lawsuit stuff.
No.
If literally anybody had gone to Buck. But like specifically that would have been specifically Eddie and Buck, if they had confided in each other about both of the things that they're going through, I think that would have avoided a lot for both of them. That would have maybe avoided the fighting.
Well, so I put
the lawsuit.
I put this episode as Buck crashing out because he doesn't have Eddie support. Like, yes, he doesn't have anyone's support, but I think specifically if he had Eddie's, it would have been able, because they balance each other.
They do.
In a way that like no one else can. And again, the narrative, it's not just me trying to like have an agenda. The narrative is literally tying them together as each other's partners at and outside of work.
Visually from cutting from one to the other.
So it's like, this episode is about Buck crashing out because he doesn't have Eddie support. And the next episode is Eddie crashing out because he doesn't have Buck's support.
Who's Beck?
He's a musician.
Me and Beck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just basically, if you think about any time both of them have made bad decisions, it's when the other one is not there for them.
No, that's entirely true.
We could go down we could probably make a special episode just about that.
Should.
Every single time they get romantic partners.
Oh my God.
Or just separate.
Fucking literally gets together with Taylor because Eddie is unconscious, laid up in a hospital bed. Like,
yeah.
It's like, I need comfort. I can't get comfort from the person I really want to get comfort from. Oh, this person is showing comfort and interest in me. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
The amount of times kisses someone when he's really worried about stuff with Eddie is no less than 3. Probably more, but it's no less than 3. And I'm just like,
we're still here. We're still here.
Interesting. Yeah. And
was Buck dating anyone when... No, he wasn't.
When?
He wasn't dating anyone when Eddie and Anna got together, right?
No.
Okay. But
no,
it is a 2 out of 3 because Marisol is a direct result of what's her face?
Taylor?
Fuck. No.
Natalia.
Natalia. Yes. Marisol is a direct reaction to Natalia. And then Kim is a direct reaction to Tommy.
Yeah, for Eddie. And then for Buck, it's kisses Taylor while Eddie just got shot. Lucy kisses Buck. Oh, where's Eddie? He's not there. He's at dispatch. And Tommy, when Buck was
Eddie was hanging out with Tommy.
yeah.
The Lucy one is like multi-layered. It's both of them. Because they wanted to be with each other. It's like Eddie shows up, sees Buck, smiles, then sees Buck having a good time with someone who isn't him. It's like, I gotta go. That's literally what he does.
Like, are you with the firefighters? No, I'm not.
Oh my God.
And so he dips. And because Buck is like, he is not happy in his relationship. And he's missing, he's spinning out because Eddie's not there.
Yeah.
And so like someone kisses him, he kisses them back for like a second and then stops. Would that have happened if Eddie was there?
He's also in a relationship.
No. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of layers going on there.
They're just so dumb.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Every bad decision they've ever made
is because because they don't confide in the other one.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why, yes, we say with Buddie, they don't have to verbally communicate a lot because they just like speak telepathically to each other. However, that does not mean that you can't avoid communication at all. You have to have communication. You have to be vulnerable with each other. Just because you like, know what the other person is thinking doesn't mean you always know. You can just like anticipate their next.
Yeah, I'm sure Buck wasn't like looking at how Eddie was doing to look for signs of him emotionally cheating on his girlfriend with his dead wife's doppelganger.
Probably didn't occur to him.
Sure, that was not an emotion that he had in his lexicon of Eddie facial expressions.
That's a new one. Well, he has one now to like file away in his little Rolodex, his Eddie Rolodex. But I also had another little thing. I don't know if it's exactly, but I'm gonna make it so.
Oh my god.
I actually don't think it's as like pulling straws as I'm saying. But going back to when Chimney and Maddie are talking, and Chimney surprises Maddie at dispatch, and Chimney's talking about Maddie's reaction, like PTSD response to dropping the plate and everything like that. He says it wasn't nothing. And I'm sorry, but I've heard something very, very similar when another Buckley sibling is crashing out and maybe being triggered by their abandonment issues. And, you know, when Buck and Eddie are in the car in 8-10, that's Voices, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Buck finally.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
When.
Oh, yes, you're right.
When Buck and Eddie are in the car looking for Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10. I think that's Voices. And Buck is finally being like, okay, here's all of the things that like are on my mind. Like he's being vulnerable, right? And telling Eddie, like, you're moving away, like it's nothing. And Eddie says it's not nothing. And I just think the fact that those phrases are very similar, obviously for like different reasons, they're talking about different things. But in both of these situations, Maddie is having a trauma response. Buck is experiencing a trauma response with Eddie moving away with his abandonment issues and both Maddie and Buck are being validated by Chimney and Eddie by saying it's not nothing. So I don't really know what else to like go on with that, but just like
no,
similar.
That's another
Madney
parallel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Add it to the bucket.
Yay. Okay. It wasn't a pulling straws.
Some of the stuff that we just talked about today, I'm just like, oh, Tim is also pulling from season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm over here. It's like season 5 Redux, but he's pulling from a lot of different things from.
It's like 3 and 5.
It's really interesting.
But then some stuff from 2. It's literally all of it. I can choose. Anything else?
Nay.
I don't think
the
so.
The lady says nay. Remember, don't sue your boss dad.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you.
Yay!
Yay.
Holy shit, under 3 hours.
Yeah. Look at us go.
Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast from start to finish.
We literally cannot shut up about 911, so please come talk to us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to get a personal shout out in the next episode. The Buddy System is a Nerd Virgin media production featuring music from Divinity.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to exclusive content and our Discord community.
Catch you next time, and don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.